last time on Oz Hour?
Okay, so last time on Oz Hour, they, the book, it started off with Tip being owned by this horrible woman witch lady, and he ends up escaping, and with his little friend Jack the Pumpkinhead, and they go to the Emerald City where they meet the Scarecrow, but the Scarecrow has some drama going on because there's a war, and so he's like, we gotta get out of here, let's go to my gay old friend the Tin Man, and they run over to the Tin Man, and things happen over there, can't really remember, they go back to the Emerald City, I think, and they go back, and then they find another person. I can't remember. The Woggle Bug. And then they escape. And then they go into and they go with their flying friend that they made from like a couch and other things. And they accidentally fly into the real world, but then they end up coming back and they go to Glenda and they're like, help us, we need things. And she's like, where's this bitch Ozma? And we need to get her because she's going to bring everything straight, but we can't find that bitch. And so they're like, oh no, we can't find her, but we're going to go get Oz anyway. And so then that's what they do. And then they figure out that Ozma has actually been gone because she's been Tip the whole time, and that's what the bad lady in the beginning did to him, and now he's Ozma and everything's okay, and yeah, that's the end.
Hi there, and welcome to Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be starting with Book 3, Ozma of Oz, covering chapters 1 through 4.
We're your hosts, Blake Stone
And Wyatt Swangham.
And joining us, as always, is our resident Oz initiate, Hannah Aguirre.
What up?
Oh, not too much. How are you?
Not much.
All right, good to meet
Not
you,
much.
Gangsta.
Okay, anyway.
That's where I'm at right now.
Well, Hannah, you just played last time on where you recapped the end of Book 2, The Marvelous Land of Oz. That took like, what, a minute and a half or so? A minute 40?
1 minute, 37 seconds.
All
I
right.
got scared.
Yeah.
So, I mean, actually, you did a pretty good job.
Decent.
The only things that I would just touch are that Tip lives and works for Mombi. He's kind of enslaved by her. Tip built Jack Pumpkinhead. Jack couldn't walk, so they brought the sawhorse to life. He somehow just didn't make it into your recap at all, which I get it. I hate the sawhorse.
I really forgot about him.
Ginger's army of revolt attacks the city of Emeralds. I think you might have covered that by just saying like the Scarecrow has some drama.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, a lot of Tin Man stuff happened while they were with the Winkies. I agree with you. I don't really remember what happened there either. I'm going to call it a win.
There, you know what? We'll talk about it later. It's a generous definition of a win, to say the least. All right, and tonight we are going to be drinking and have been having a sip of a certain drink, which I actually don't know the name of because it was brought to us tonight by Hannah Aguirre. And Hannah, what are we drinking tonight?
I think because we have a little theme going of life support in this episode. So it is topped with a syringe, like garnish, I guess.
Syringe
I don't really know what else to call
Syringe
it.
of the house.
Only in
Syringe of the
Portland.
house. And so I thought that would be a cute little rendition of a life support because we need this alcohol in our veins to keep us going, you know?
Well, speaking of, why don't we slurp it?
Let's do it.
Very well. It's honestly really good.
Yeah, that's actually delicious.
It tastes
That
like
might
a
be one of
blueberry.
the best cocktails we've ever had.
Book 3, Ozma of Oz, published by L. Frank Baum in 1907. Chapter 1, The Girl in the Chicken Coop.
So,
Sounds like me.
Can I just say, I don't know how to take that, but this book starts with such a different dynamic than the other two books.
yeah, we start in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, it's from this.
I didn't even know
It's-
Oz had an ocean.
Oh, well,
Well,
we don't start
we don't
in
know if we're in
Oz.
Oz.
Do we ever?
Where are you?
Oh, actually, we did last time.
Well, sometimes we do.
Yeah, we're presumably
1 out of 2.
We're presumably in the Pacific Ocean, probably the Tasman Sea in the South Pacific, because
Oh,
we're traveling from Kansas to where?
to Australia.
That's a
Is that your
long
Australian
drive.
accent?
Go ahead, do yours.
I'm going to Australia.
What?
So we're
Mine-
gonna.
no.
That's what he just did.
No.
Yeah, no. We're not going to go skinny dipping today, see.
Okay, that's pretty good actually.
Oh,
that was
really?
better than the
I
first
think it was
one.
bad.
No, that was better than the first one. The first one was really confusing.
I'd like to get off that topic,
Okay.
but I will say that the book opens literally. This is like the first sentences is. I hate to do a quote, but I will say quote. The wind blew hard and joggled the water of the ocean, sending ripples across its surface. When the wind pushed the edges of the ripples until they became waves. I think I misread that. But the waves were roiling as high as the tops of trees and seemed like mountains, and the gulfs between the great billows were like deep valleys. That's the first words given some editorial.
I don't trust the ocean.
It is a huge storm, and also, I'm sorry to quote.
This is like
but-
that crab
Oh.
catching. What is it?
Deadliest
Catch. Wanted.
That was
Dead or
way
alive.
Is that the theme song
It is.
for
It's
Deadliest
apt
Catch?
and also
Well, that's what
know-
it's giving me right now.
really
When
good
I
song.
was like 5 years old, my mom told me that song was about Osama bin Laden, and I was just like, oh yeah, that song's about Osama bin Laden. I believed that with all my heart. That song is about being a rebel cowboy.
Can't wait
come
for
on.
her to hear that.
But yeah, there's a huge storm on the ocean, and the book says a storm on the ocean is liable to cut many queer pranks and do a lot of damage. And that it does, Hannah. That it does. Who should be on this ship other than our very own Dorothy Gale of Kansas?
Yeah. The sailors are freaked
A
out.
cameo.
Yes, this is her only moment here. So there is, a ship at sea. The sailors are all freaked out. They're holding on for their lives. The captain is like, hey, it's fine. Just go below deck. And Dorothy is among the passengers below deck. A little Kansas girl named Dorothy Gale. And yes, this is when we find out, though, that the ship was on its way to Australia.
Yeah.
And you might be wondering,
It was Australia.
they're on their way to Australia.
Okay, I thought you were joking about that. I don't know why.
No, I don't joke. Not on this one.
We don't
No
joke
joking
about
I
here.
joke on my other
goes.
podcast, but not on this one.
But that being said, Blake, can you think of a reason why Dorothy would be on her way to Australia from Kansas?
Well, so Dorothy is
She's a traveler now.
She's traveling with.
how old do you think she is, Hannah?
Well, I mean, she's on a boat.
Yeah.
Were there boats?
There's
I have some
always
interesting
been boats.
trivia.
There have always
I
been
have
No,
some
boats.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Actually, I'm sorry. Forget that. She's on a. Is it the Titanic?
Wrong coast.
Okay, I'm gonna say maybe. I'm gonna say my age, 26.
No way.
What?
Absolutely not.
Definitely
I would
not
say that
that.
this probably takes place like 8 months after the first book.
I would
What? So
say
she's still like
I'd say
9 to 11.
1 year max. I'd say she's 10 to 12.
Yeah,
Okay,
she is
we're
now
switching
10 to
with that.
12.
10
We
to
don't
12.
have to play with
We
that
can move
9/11.
No
past
more
that.
dancing around
Damn
that.
it. Wait, how old was Tip?
9
Tip
to
is-
11.
yeah, probably about the same age, honestly. Maybe
I love
like
the one that.
maybe
Yeah,
like
maybe he's the
16.
same age now.
So Dorothy is traveling with Uncle Henry and to his friends
Yes.
because homie's getting old and he's getting sick, and they're going to Australia to meet relatives that they've never seen before.
I think that Uncle Henry knows them, though.
No,
'Cause
the book I have in quotes in my notes, relatives they've never seen before.
Oh, okay. All I had was see his cousins and have some rest.
Oh,
But I just assumed he'd met his cousins.
see
so
his cousins who he's never seen before and have some rest. So you just missed like the middle.
That's fair. It also says he's being here. He feels, quote, nervous from being overworked on the farm. But thankfully, while he's gone, Aunt Em is back home overseeing their like farm crew who's working the land and doing all the chores.
She's
and
like,
stuff.
no, yeah, take Dorothy to Australia, go meet some family. Like, you need this before you meet the Messiah.
Yes.
But since Dorothy's an experienced traveler, as we all know, she's in the cabin down below deck, and she's kind of like bossing people around. Yeah. She's like,
right. Okay. I'm glad you had that too. Because, she's literally like,
I mean, she kind of did that in the first book anyway. Well, it was just
that's
like
true.
She was a little bit more, I mean, I don't know the situation, but I feel like back then maybe she was a little bit more entitled.
Yeah, she's a little older now. She's learned a lot during her time in Oz. And now she's like, you don't have to love me.
Yeah, she's like, actually, I need to get things done, so I'm going to tell you what to do.
Literally.
I get it.
She tells Uncle Henry and to his friends and all the other passengers in the deck that they just need to stay in their cabin and stay quiet until the storm passes, or else they might go overboard. And it's like, Dorothy, you're 10 to 12 right now.
Yeah. It's like,
how about all these adults?
The only reason she's saying that was because in the first book, who was it, Jalea Jam, said that to them when they were crying that one time.
You're right.
Yeah.
She has a role model.
Yeah, she does.
But so Dorothy gets everyone huddled together. And what does Dorothy do? She starts falling asleep because this girl has no trouble sleeping in the face of adversity. She sleeps when she's in a house in the sky. She sleeps in the middle of a desert on the way to a witch's house.
I wish I had that.
You don't, though. It never serves her well.
I guess that's true, actually.
She always misses something.
Yeah. That's how my dad is. He can sleep literally through anything and on anything.
Oh, my God. I'm going
in a house, flying through the air.
Probably.
For 3 hours.
I literally think he would be passed out.
I'm gonna
Pablo,
ask,
if you're out there,
he's that tired.
Call in.
I'm gonna ask my mom to help me find this video of me at my 6th birthday party, asleep, in the middle of a skating rink while everyone is just having fun and skating around me.
Yeah, I need that. Actually,
it's iconic.
Gold.
So Dorothy's bossing everyone around and then falls asleep, and Uncle Henry, he decides to go and lay down in his bunk, but Dorothy doesn't know this.
No. And she kind of wakes up and she's like, oh, where's Uncle Henry? I don't see him. And she's like, oh, you know what? He might have just been careless enough to go out on the deck, and then he might be swept away because he's so weak right now.
Oh, Hen.
And I'm like, okay, does this feel like, is she afraid Henry is going to attempt suicide? Why is her thought, maybe he's so weak, he might go up top and be swept away?
She kind of starts screaming for Uncle Henry, but the wind is super loud. She can't even hear herself screaming.
Yeah, because at this point, she's open the door. She's going on deck to check. She's climbing the stairs. And
you would not catch me dead on that deck. On Deadliest Catch?
No
way.
It's absolutely
not
insane.
Without hazard pay.
And also the thing to me, because it says Uncle Henry is sleeping in his sleeping berth, so in his little section. Why didn't she check there? I will not understand that.
Start there.
Start easier.
Yeah.
Start somewhere where you're not going to get swept away into the ocean and probably lost forever, which I assume might be happening right now.
Honestly, I think she just wanted to get swept away because this seems to happen to her so easily.
She's into the drama.
As she climbs the stairs, she's like, oh, I feel powerful. I'm defying the storm.
She's
I'm
a new
powerful
girl.
young woman. Yeah. And at the top of the stairs, she sees a man on the deck, which it's a boat. But she starts calling Uncle Henry's name, and she couldn't even hear herself because the wind was so powerful. She couldn't even hear herself calling. And then she made a mad dash for the man, and there was a giant gust that hit her, and she grabbed onto a chicken coop, and it had been tied to the decking. There was I guess they shipped chickens to Australia.
Yeah,
was the chicken in the chickens in the coop?
There are several chicken in this.
I think I'm a little confused on what a coop is.
So it's a strange use of the word coop.
It is a strange use of the word coop because they basically are describing a crate. They say it's got slats connected to a frame. It's basically just a big crate of
and they
live
had them on
chickens.
Top of the deck in the storm.
Yeah, but there's a tarp on top.
They were so scared,
which we learned. I'm sure they were super scared. It sounds horrific. But they were tied down, so in theory, they're just in a cage. And the cage isn't that high. It's probably this high, which is
but they're
2.5
pushed
feet.
side to side.
They are. Yeah, they're against the bars.
One time, I was in a boat in the middle of the ocean. I was seasick for an hour.
I don't even want to talk about ocean stuff. Actually, let's just get through this because trigger warning, ocean stuff. But Dorothy grabs onto this chicken coop that's tied down with rope. She like grabs the slats, and the wind picks up in intensity and it lifts the coop into the air, and she's like holding on and just gets lifted with it and is hanging onto the coop for dear life.
Yeah. So it's basically like a shipping pallet with bars on the side that she's like holding on to.
She is no stranger to flying through weather disasters.
No. Very high winds.
But at this point, though, the coop is, so it's torn off. There's like a tarp on top so that the chickens couldn't get out, and that gets torn off. Tragically, all the chickens are whipped away in all the directions of the wind, presumably just to be dead.
The chickens are eaten by the ocean.
They were all just whipped out by the wind. They're gone. And then Dorothy is in the water. She is coughing and spluttering. She's trying to wipe the water off her eyes. She gets inside the coop, and she stands up.
So she's just in like, picture like a crib. Like,
yes,
that she's just in
up to her like waist.
She's Life of Pieing it right now.
Yes, very much that.
And so she rides in the coop like a little raft.
She does think to herself, amused, I've got a ship of my own, apparently. Yeah. And it's like, are you insane? Like, that should not be what's in your head.
It's so funny because she's soaking wet, no fresh water, no food, in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
She's just
and
like,
that's what she says.
You're quite in a fix, Miss Gale.
Yeah.
Like,
and in this storm, the coop is rising up to the peak of these waves that it's like she's at the top of a mountain. She looks
I would
down.
accept the fact that that's it for me.
That's what well, she's also so young. She's probably pretty like optimistic no
I
matter
guess she's
what.
never seen Castaway.
she is gross. She is sorry, we just watched that recently, and the part where he took out his tooth with an ice skating blade.
Oh my god, I forgot about that scene. Yeah.
Anyway, the storm does subside, so Dorothy's just kind of floating in the ocean. And it's funny you just said optimistic, because L. Frank Baum does say that Dorothy decided to be cheery about it and just patiently await her fate.
Yeah. So at this point, it's getting too dark, so Dorothy just does what anybody would do, and she goes to sleep. It's getting dark on the ocean, so she says, I'll go to bed now, and she goes to sleep.
And you know, something that can I say how I'm picturing? I know you said the raft situation to me, but since you said baby crib now,
please, yes, make it clear as clear as possible.
Yeah, so now what I'm visualizing, because of the baby crib thing, is that she's like in, I don't even know how to say this. Okay, so like she's underwater. It's like a submarine type of
on
thing.
water.
She's floating on the water.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna find the illustration.
Yeah,
and
give me
you
the
can
illustration,
describe
because
it.
I'm picturing something weird. That she's like under the water, but there's walls, and then there's like a crate, but the water's not getting into where she's at.
You know how like at the end of Titanic they float on a door? She's on a door, but that has 4 walls around it.
Okay.
She
I'm
can
seeing the
stand up
picture
and hold
now,
on to it.
and yeah, it's literally a chicken coop. Actually, I don't know what else I was picturing. Why it looks like a little like
It's like a 4-sided fence, and on the bottom, instead of ground, it's like a shipping pallet made of wood.
It's like
and it's
like a shipping
floating,
pallet.
and then it has the little like what are those things called?
Slats.
Is that what they're called?
I mean, that
Slats.
is what I would call
Yeah.
it.
Okay, well that's
even what the book calls
when
them.
you said slats. I
It
don't
didn't
even know what
connect.
I was picturing.
They're under your bed. They're under your bed.
Oh, they are under my bed. You're right.
Ours are made of steel.
But yeah, I mean, of course, Dorothy can fall asleep in any situation. She literally fell asleep in the middle of an extreme emergency, woke up, was like, my uncle's missing, ran out into a storm, was lifted into the sea alone on a piece of wood, and fell asleep again.
Yeah, after accepting her fate.
She is a little too chill for me.
Dude, L. Frank Baum is writing from a place where people were basically animals. I do not understand.
She's like,
it.
let's just go with the flow. And I'm like, no. We're about to die.
Yeah, and she probably will. But that's the end end of that chapter, and that's means.
Way to start off with a good hook.
Strong start, right?
Yeah, out of all three of them, like right now I'm invested. And also it's Dorothy, so I'm just like into it.
Oh, Frank Baum took a writing class.
Yeah.
Also, welcome back, Dorothy. I didn't even think about
I'm
that.
very happy about it, actually.
In the book, it's a significant reveal because like there's that whole like couple paragraphs of like exposition, and then it's like, and inside of the boat was one little girl from Kansas, Dorothy Gale.
We
and
were
it's like,
actually we were
insane.
texting about this the other day, where like we were like, oh, the writing, why it was like the writing is so much better. Oh, the description of the storm, and then I was like, he didn't even mention Dorothy until like the 5th paragraph. He was like,
yeah, he was building it up. He was really building it up.
And I really hate to quell the joy in the room right now, but we're actually doing a guest trivia. Yeah, Blake doesn't know about this actually.
I don't.
So the question is, on the boat that they're on, which we didn't mention, but okay, actually what I really need to address is the metal ship controversy that I've created on this show.
Oh, thank God we're addressing this now. My DMs.
Yeah. So there were metal ships for a long time, like for like more than 50 years before these books were written.
Damn.
They were called Ironsides, which I knew in my mind.
I didn't even
my
think
heart.
there were boats during this time. So
well, then you should talk
makes you feel any better.
Have you ever heard of the Hawaiian people or like Polynesia?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about how they came to America.
Yeah, that was called the Mayflower. Well, probably other things.
Heard of it.
But
it was specifically the Mayflower
and others. But so there were metal ships before this book was published. That's for sure. For reference, this was written in 1907. The Titanic was built in the year 1912. So the Titanic, which was a luxury ship, was built 5 years after this. So that puts it in perspective. But for some reason, the ship that they're on this journey has masts and ropes and sails. And I don't know why that's the case.
Do we actually, I'm not sure if I've asked this question before, but do we have like a time setting of when, like in the book, what time it is? Like what year it is? Or is it just kind of left to
This book came out in 2007, and I expect that the book is just
written
set there.
I think it's just written for kids in that time period, which is certainly the case with the first book, but so it should be set around this time.
Okay.
But at any rate, so they're traveling from Kansas to Australia, and I'm assuming that they left from San Francisco, which would have been a huge, like the biggest port at that time. How far do you think a wooden vessel between probably 50 and 60 feet long could sail with using sails, no motorized functions, in one day?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say in miles because that's what I know.
Okay.
Miles. 1 day. Like that's 24 hours, right?
With a sleep break. I will give you the hint. This is assuming that there's 8 hours where there's a sleeping break for all the crew.
And so that means maybe they're not moving?
Yes. During that time, they're probably not. Okay. Because they can't really navigate. They could fall asleep and go off course for 8 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm going to say 40 miles.
Okay. That's a little low. If you're going 40 miles an hour in a car, you'd go 40 miles in 1 hour. But that all being said, it is a surprising answer because based on some brief research that I will not and frankly cannot cite, they could be going about 140 miles per day based on what I saw. So 140
can work.
Yeah.
It just seems like, well, like, yeah, what's the speed of a boat like that?
I actually don't have that in my notes, as it turns out.
Because like when I'm thinking,
they're just going by wind is the thing. They have to capture the power of the wind to go.
Well, when I picture a boat like that and being moved by sails, I'm thinking of like shots from like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I see those going so fast, and I'm like, I don't feel like that's that real. So I'm gonna take some time off.
That's fair.
And then cut it.
Yeah, they're not going as fast as feels like they're probably going faster than it looks like they're going. Even.
Yeah.
But so how many miles on the ocean between Kansas and Australia?
So that leads us to our bonus and redemption question for Hannah, which is that Australia is 7,400 miles from San Francisco. So, in your opinion, about how long should it take for this ship to get from San Francisco to Australia?
How many miles?
If they're traveling from Kansas, meaning that they would sail from San Francisco, the largest port on the west coast at the time, to Australia, it is 7,400 miles.
7,400. Okay.
So how long would it take that ship going 140 miles a day? How long would it take them to get
I hate when
there?
you guys do this to me.
I know that.
We do nothing to you.
I do the math.
Okay. 7,400 miles, and they're going...
I have it in nautical miles too, if that's helpful.
That's not going to do anything
that would be
for me.
120
I'm
per
just going to
day.
say a number, and I don't know where it's coming from or why I'm thinking it. It just is what I'm thinking. But I'm going to say 700 days.
That is so many days. Hannah, they went 140 miles in a day. They're going 7,000 miles. How many times does 140 go into 7,000?
Okay, I'm going to say 4 months.
Can I get that? Can I get that in days?
120 days.
That is incorrect.
Damn it!
It would take about 62 days to journey. Yeah.
So you doubled
in a wooden
that,
vessel. You did double that after you did a lot of other math. But unfortunately, that is incorrect. I did look, though, and there are 21 day cruises currently from San Francisco to Australia you can take, and they go through like different areas in like the South Pacific, and it takes 21 days. So apparently modern vessels with days in between can travel 3 times as fast.
We can get into this on my other podcast, but I'm conflicted on if I would want to go on a cruise or not. I feel like I'd like it, but I also feel like I'd hate it.
I'd want a lot of cultural experiences on the cruise and less just sitting on the patio.
My sister went on a cruise where someone killed one of the staff members killed themselves.
Wow.
So
I bet that's actually a pretty common thing for cruise workers. I think something about the isolation and like working conditions would probably drive you to like
seems
a bad
pretty
place.
Horrible.
So that was chapter 1, The Girl in the Chicken Coop. And Blake, what would you call that?
I would call that chapter Dorothy Flies the Coop. Because she sure did, and now she's in the sea.
That would have been a way better chapter name, honestly.
Chapter 2, The Yellow Hen.
So Dorothy's like awoken by a strange sound. And she looks out and she's like, "Oh God, what happened last night? Oh, I'm in the middle of the ocean, that's right."
Also, quick note, she wakes up from a dream that she's playing with farm animals like the lambs and whatever, but she's not dreaming about playing with Toto. He's not mentioned at all in those dreams or anything. So my question is, where is Toto? That's just one little baby question I have. Is he dead?
She killed him.
It's a big question for all of us. But I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Toto is way too iconic. I was going to say he was forgotten just like so many other like very important plot points. L. Frank Baum just forgot Toto. But Toto's a little too big to forget. But I could argue that a lot of things that we've forgotten about it. So the noise that woke Dorothy up like starts up again. And Dorothy jumps up and she's like, "What is that?"
And she specifically thinks, so the sound is like typed or like written like, which doesn't mean anything. But she's like, that can't be the sound of a chicken clucking.
And they're all dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, literally.
Yeah, because I watched them all go.
Yeah.
It's like Angry Birds.
But at that moment, she's like, wakes up, thinks that, sees that like on the other side of the slats is the ocean. And she's like, oh my God, now I remember what happened to me. It wasn't that fun. And then she looks around and she's like, what's
Her thought process
that?
is insane.
It is insane because she has to ask herself every question. And then there's always an answer. So
Yeah,
she
so
does always find the answer, I guess.
She hears the noise and she's like, what is that? And this voice out of nowhere is like, I've just laid an egg, that's all. And Dorothy turns around to find a yellow hen crouched down in the corner of the coop.
She better know where she's at right now.
The coop or Dorothy?
Wait, yeah, who should know?
Dorothy.
Okay, yeah, because you're in
yes.
Hen's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, you're in Oz, right? You have talking animals.
Okay, we're about to get into that.
Very astute, Hen.
Yeah, that's a very
Quite.
clever thing.
I should have been thrown into the ocean and fell into a chicken coop with a hen.
Indeed.
I don't believe that, but Dorothy exclaims, and she's like, "Have you been here all night?" And the hen is like, "Yeah, I had a really bad night. I had to hold on to the chicken coop with my talons and my beak, and I almost drowned all night." And
Dorothy was sleeping.
yes, and also
Yeah, somehow the hen is
then it's like,
drowning and Dorothy's asleep.
yeah, and the worst part is, if this was this hen's experience, imagine the chickens that got blown away in the wind.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's
Privilege.
awful. But Dorothy is very polite and she's like, "Hey, well, how are you feeling now?"
A little too late, baby.
Well, let me add on to that some really important information that is all caps in my notes. This is where Dorothy gets a southern drawl.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, he starts putting apostrophes in the middle of words all the time.
It's-
She's like, and you gotten they do it
Yeah.
if you didn't.
Are you comfortable now?
I thought he went to a writing class.
It's like he
I
learned
think
about
he picked up
dialogue.
stylization of
He
dialect.
was like, oh, she has a southern drawl.
Yeah, he went to Kansas and he was like, "Oh God, this is a new place. I don't know people talked like
yeah,
that."
he's like, I only ever heard the word Kansas. I didn't know people actually talked away here.
It's so like it's just weird because we probably won't touch on this again. I mean, I don't really have it in my
Was
notes.
she even talking that way in the beginning of the book?
No. Oh, well, she
No.
didn't have a lot of
She
dialogue.
wasn't really
in the
speaking.
beginning.
She was
Yeah.
thinking a lot. She was like, oh no, I'm going to die.
And we
a
don't
lot.
give her a southern drawl when it's thinking. No one has accents in their head.
Well, I think it'd be
I wonder.
insulting, like in her dying moments, to be like, and Dorothy was thinking, ooh, I darn Gert got to get out of this mess here. You know, like it really takes you out of the drama of the
yeah, it does.
situation.
It does.
But all of her dialogue from here on out has like comfortable is spelled comfortable. Like there's just all sorts of shit, and maybe we'll mention some crazy ones, but it's the whole thing, and I don't want anyone to forget that, including you, Hannah. Do
And-
not forget.
I will
And
never.
Dorothy asks the hen, like, and how is it that you're able to Turk now? And the hen's like, I've never spoken before. You just asked me a question. I had an answer in my head. Apparently that answer was in English. I'm talking. I'm still talking. I don't know.
That is not good enough for me.
Well, it's not the hen's fault. She's never been to a fairyland before.
Oh.
So Dorothy is like, this is
What?
really. Dorothy is like, this is really strange, but you know what?
But that didn't happen to Toto.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that yet,
We're not
but
gonna
we
talk
are
about
going
it.
to.
Okay.
Because in
I'm
this
having
moment,
questions.
she's like, you know what? Like, this is super strange, but like, it wouldn't be that strange if we were in Oz because animals can talk in the fairy countries. But then she's like, well, but they must be really far away of Oz because they're in the middle of an ocean
Yeah.
and there's a desert surrounding Oz, and she's never heard of an ocean in Oz.
Dorothy starts to get hungry, and the hen offers to Dorothy one of her eggs. She's like, I only like to hatch eggs if I have a nice snug nest for them, and I also really only like to hatch 13 at a time. It's a really lucky number for us chickens.
I mean,
So
yeah.
I only laid one egg this morning because I'm stressed.
I mean, her choice, her body,
you can
right?
eat it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's
But-
having those eggs. There's no man, there's no nest, there's no partner,
But
etc.
Dorothy's like, well, I don't really eat a raw eggs.
She politely declines because she was like, well, I need to cook that egg. And Dorothy's like, why do you have eggs if you don't want to hatch them? If you don't want to hatch them. And she's like, well, it's just my habit. Like, I take pride in laying an egg every morning. And if I didn't lay an egg, then I'd have no reason to cackle like I do.
Oh my
And then
God,
she's like,
she's saying too much. She has the choice of words now, and she's letting everyone know.
She does. Oh,
good for her. Honestly, I want all hens to have a voice.
Yes, and you know what? Dorothy is glad to have the hen, but she is also a little lonely because she's like, Jesus Christ, like, why does this keep happening to me? And then she falls into a meditative silence for just a little while.
Yeah, and the hen ends up like flying up to the wall of the coop, which is just a little bit higher than Dorothy's head, apparently, even though that's not the way it's depicted in the images. But so the hen's able to see like out in the distance, and she sees land, and she's like, well, if we keep floating in the right direction, we're going to reach dry land by noon, because apparently this hen has a concept of time and nautical miles.
Yeah, but as like in this moment though, what they can see, there's a sandy white beach, there's like some like rocky like kind of little hills, and there's like a line of trees at the edge, but there's no houses, no people. They don't see any of that. And Dorothy's just like, God, I hope there's food. And the hen is like, yeah, I fucking hope there's food. And then, okay, this is kind of important because it's going to be a theme, but Dorothy's like, well, why don't you just eat your egg? And the hen is like, what? Do you take me for a cannibal?
Yeah,
like,
why would you ask such a thing?
How dare you suggest
exactly.
I would be mad.
Yeah, well, and she was.
And as they're getting closer to the land, they notice that it looks like a beautiful island with white beaches and rocky hills and a forest on the hills, but they don't see any homes. So that's like when they get in the conversation about food, where
Survivor.
It's like, Dorothy's like, is there anything to even eat? But yeah, so Dorothy and the hen, as they're approaching land, Dorothy's like, so what is your name, Mrs. And she's like, well, my name's Bill, because when she hatched, they didn't know if she was a hen or a rooster. So the little boy who lived on the farm that she was born at named her Bill and kept her as a pet. So once he was old enough to know that she wasn't a rooster and she was a hen, the name had already stuck. And Dorothy gets kind of turfy here.
Dorothy gets weird. Well, not weird. Like, she's just basically, Dorothy's like, that's all wrong. Like, I'll call you Bellina because like adding an Ina to the name makes it a girl's name. Like, Bill's a boy's name.
I will not call you Bill.
Yeah, but now the hen Bellina is just like, I literally don't care. Like, as long as I know that you're talking to me when you say that word, like, that's fine.
Like, suit yourself, honey.
Yeah, she's like, whatever
that.
you need,
love
do
that
it.
Energy. Whatever makes
it
your
is a
little
weird
heart
moment
happy.
though. Right. So they wait until they're closer to the shore, and Bellina makes like a little flight for like the sand, and Dorothy has to like climb over some rocks and shit to get to the sand, and then she has to like takes her shoes off to dry them out and her socks, and she's like, okay, I'm like fully drenched from the ocean.
And she's just kind of watching Bellina like pecking at the sand and rocks, like Bellina's looking for something to eat. And she's like, well, what are you finding? And
she's like, I'm just eating breakfast, ants and sand bugs and tiny crabs that are delicious. And Dorothy's like, you should be ashamed for eating bugs and all these little living things.
How dare you eat something that's alive?
If Bellina was able to answer her and say it, would she be that mad still? Like, if she wasn't able to say what she was eating, if she had if she didn't have the ability to talk, you would just let a chicken do its fucking thing.
She would just not realize she was
But now
eating bugs,
she's able to answer you, and you're just like, ew, disgusting. I've never heard of anything like that.
Well, honestly, Bellina does defend herself because she's like, okay, and what do you eat? Chickens. And what do we eat? Bugs. And these filthy things you don't want to eat. You're no better. You literally eat me, and I eat that. So what? Like what?
She's like, you eat dead lambs. You eat dead pigs. You eat dead cows. Yeah. You even eat the eggs from us, and I eat bugs. So you're eating my bug eggs.
She's like,
what's worse?
I kind of like eating fresh food. You just eat dead shit all the time.
And Dorothy's like, it's just different. That's literally what she says.
Shut up,
she's like, I can't explain it, but it's just different.
And it absolutely isn't. And L. Frank Baum couldn't explain it, and that's why he shouldn't have put it in his book.
Damn.
But
I love that.
He's really good at keeping that character of Dorothy.
Belina defended herself at the very least. And she's pecking away at the sand, and she strikes her beak against a large piece of metal.
No.
She's fine.
No, yeah,
But
she
Dorothy's-
was afraid she broke her beak off,
Yeah.
and then she was like, I'm fine.
Dorothy's like, you probably just hit it on a rock. It doesn't make any sense it would be metal because this is a wild and deserted island. Like, it's not metal. And Belina's like, okay, I'm telling you what I just hit my beak on. Like,
And do you know
That's
what
all I'm
happens? You know what happens when Dorothy digs it up?
It's metal.
It's a big
metal.
golden key.
She literally digs it up just to prove that she's right.
Yeah. And then it ends up being a key.
A
Good.
huge piece
Yeah.
of raw
Humbling,
iron.
huh?
Yes. And
You'd think.
yeah. But
They went right
Belina's,
past her.
Belina's just like, what the fuck is that for? And Dorothy's like, I don't know, but I'm getting dressed and we're going to go look around here and find something for me to eat. Cause she's like, I need to get food. I'm starving.
Like, I'm starving.
Good country girl.
The ornate key buried on the deserted beach. We'll deal with that later. I must eat.
Yeah, you gotta take care of yourself before taking care of
So
others.
Dorothy puts the key in her pocket, and they're on their way.
Okay.
That's the end of the chapter.
Ooh, journey time. We got our first character.
And Blake, that was chapter 2, The Yellow Hen. And what would you call that?
I would call that chapter an excellent lunch
Nice.
because Belina.
She ate ants.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Dorothy needs lunch. Chapter 3, Letters in the Sand.
So walking back toward the forest up the beach, Dorothy notices that there's like large letters etched into the sand.
Like as if they're trying to get the attention of a plane, like that big.
They're huge.
Like they're huge. And she's like, what the hell is that? And Belina's like, I can't read. I'm a hen. But Dorothy is trying to figure out what it says. She has to walk along each individual letter and she reads them out.
They're so large.
Yes. And it reads, beware the Wheelers.
The Wheelers.
I don't know if you know the
sounds
Wheeler
like
family.
a really conservative like family that like has like a creepy dad,
Like
the
our
Flanders or something, like
Yes.
from The Simpsons. That's what I'm thinking. It's like your next door neighbor, and he's just like way too intrusive.
Yeah.
Well, Dorothy and Belina are also like trying to guess what a wheeler is.
They're like,
And
what's a wheeler?
They're like something that wheels, I guess.
like maybe a wheelbarrow or a baby carriage. And then Belina's like, yeah, or maybe it's an automobile, which is actually scary because those have run over my friends before.
She's like, it could be one of them newfangled automobiles. You better watch out for
Yeah,
them.
honestly,
Very
this
new.
is like two very different perspectives on life right now. Like we have two very different personalities.
Yeah, a
and
chicken and a woman.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I know it's how it's been for like the other groups too, but this just feels like more because it's like two people that are from the real world now entering this like
Yes,
weird
right.
land, I guess. So
And,
it's like it's just different. I don't know.
And it gets better. Like there's some things that are going to develop that you'll hear about.
Yeah, there's all
'cause
kinds
it's
of
about
things
to
in the story.
Start.
I'm excited.
But Dorothy's like, it can't be automobiles because this is a wild place and it doesn't have cars and it hasn't been discovered by people. Now, please note, they are still in the coop. They have not hit land. Oh, wait, no, they have.
Yeah, I was like,
Either way, she knows by only seeing the beach that like this is a wild place with nobody else there, and she has said this before, so it's a bizarre. It's
She's
a bizarre
always
stance
been
to
right,
take.
I guess.
I mean, like, what are they going to drive on the sand? You know,
No.
there's not really
Well,
roads.
And she saw there were no homes or no like people from the ocean.
I would maybe
too.
think the same thing, but
I don't know. I mean, Dorothy lives in Kansas in 1907. I don't know how much she knows about automobiles driving on sand, but
True.
I mean, she is a know-it-all, so maybe she's right here. But I mean, we have wheelers to beware of, so obviously they're not alone. Somebody's writing in English on the sand, so
Yeah.
it's obviously
That's
not a
also
wild,
interesting.
uninhabited place.
And being though a place where there is a forest. Dorothy's like, you know what? I'm hungry for breakfast. I'm going to go ahead and see if there's some fruit and nut trees, which, as we all recall, fruits and nuts were like her favorite foods in Oz.
She loves them.
Like, that's how she survived.
Keeps her regular.
She'll fuck that shit up.
Unfortunately, not the case here.
Yeah, because when she gets to the edge of the forest, she only sees cottonwood, eucalyptus, and punita trees. And pop quiz for you, Hannah.
Oh, no.
What is the punita tree best known for? A, being the original specimen of all deciduous trees. B, growing its roots directly into bedrock. Or C, being decorated at Christmas time. The punita tree.
I feel lost and I feel confused.
I understand.
So I'm glad you gave me multiple choice, but I honestly don't think that helps me.
Okay, your answer has to be one of those, though. Okay, it's like, wait, don't just follow your heart.
No, I will follow the structure. I'm just going to say C because I feel like it's a trick question.
It was a little bit of a trick question because none of those are correct. But also of those.
You told me to pick one.
Any of them could be correct. The thing is, I don't know because I can't find evidence of a punita tree anywhere online. L. Frank Baum literally just made that up.
Oh my God. Because I was like, I've never heard of punita tree.
I was reading the book and I was like, what the fuck is a punita tree?
Yeah.
Googled it. No such thing.
I literally
I just suspect that I don't know
notes.
things.
Honestly, maybe it's like punita. We know he's punny from the last book. It was basically one of those joke books you get out of the student
Probably
fair.
something we'll never understand.
Do you think he's really thinking that far ahead?
Absolutely not.
Based on things we're yet to see? No. So, at any rate, they're all just like they're trees that can't feed Dorothy. And she's like, well, God damn it. But then all of a sudden, she stumbles upon a tree that can feed her. This tree's limbs are full of paper boxes. Some are green and underripe, and some are large and evidently ripe, and the ripest ones had the word lunch written on the side in raised letters. The leaves of this tree, napkins.
So it
Seems
like
sketchy, seems
lunch
strange.
bag?
little
It's
clusters
literally
of
lunch
lunch
boxes.
pails that are like the fruit on the tree. And the
Imagine
leaves
an
are
apple
napkins.
tree, but instead of an apple, it's a little paper to-go box. That's what it is, and it says lunch.
Why have we not made that happen yet?
But don't worry, because there is actually a second tree that's also food bearing.
Yeah,
And this other tree, it's loaded with heavy dinner pails.
yeah. And they're
So-
like
Heavy, okay.
They're like metal, like imagine like a lunch pail, like with a handle that like some blue collar dad is taking to work.
Okay.
But like imagine that made of tin, because it's like the underripe ones were small and kind of brown, but the really ripe ones were glistening and they were shiny like metal because they were made of metal.
It's
Okay.
like a paint bucket full of food.
Pretty
and
much.
they just have food in there, like
Well, we're about to find out.
So
Okay,
Dorothy, she picks one of the lunch boxes and opens it. And inside that, it's a ham sandwich, a piece of sponge cake, a pickle, a slice of new cheese, and an apple.
And all wrapped in paper, so
And
it's
they're
all
all
clean.
attached to the inside of the pail by a stem.
Yeah.
She has to pluck them out like they're like
So
the seeds.
she
or-
plucks this to-go box off the tree from its stem, opens it up, and everything else inside has a stem that she has to pluck it
like
from.
an umbilical
the
stem.
new cheese has a stem.
is it alive?
Well, she eats it.
Yeah, and she finishes
hope
her
not.
lunch.
Yes.
And then she picks a dinner pail. She's like, well, I'm going to bring a dinner pail with me.
Yeah.
Very smart girl.
What was he on?
I know.
I
L.
don't-
Frank
I
Baum
don't-
was,
he
he was on a
chewing-
roll, I'll tell you that.
He was chewing on some milkweed or something. What did they even have back then?
I don't even know, but he's doing it.
But so she chooses a dinner pail in case she gets hungry again, and they go out and explore. And Bellina is like, hey, Dorothy, do you like know where we are? And Dorothy's like, no, but it has to be a fairyland.
Yeah. And she's like, if you can pick a lunch pail off a tree and you're a talking hen, we have to be in fairyland or in a fairy country. And And Belina is like, well, is it Oz, that place you talked about? And Dorothy's like, no, Oz is surrounded by an impassable desert, so this obviously can't be Oz.
Like, there's no beaches.
Belina is like, well, how did you get out of Oz? And Dorothy's like, oh, I had some silver slippers and then I walked home, but they fell off on the way, so I don't have them. And Belina says, oh, indeed. And then she just like keeps walking. So Belina doesn't believe that shit. She's like, no, that makes absolutely no sense. And that's when Belina turns around and is like, what the fuck is that? And then Dorothy turns and she sees the most peculiar person she's ever seen.
It's always something strange.
And for Dorothy, you know what that means. It has to be pretty bad at that point. This person, Blake, do you have I have a description, but do you?
Yeah, it's like a nightmare person who's the form of a man, but like they roll on all fours because their arms and legs are the same length. And
What's
it's
a
got like
nightmare person?
I'll show you.
Just like they're the kind of thing you would see in a nightmare because their arms and legs are the same length. They have wheels at the end. They wear these colorful embroidered garments with straw hats perched jauntily upon their heads. And the wheels are made out of like keratin, like what your hair and fingernails are made out of.
Ew,
that's what their wheels
it's
are
giving
made
me
out of.
like Slender Man, but like if you had Slender Man close up and you saw all the detail.
So
Yeah.
what I'm about to show you, Hannah, is an image of what they are seeing.
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
Which is, it's just from the audio or from the book. One of these things with arms and legs the same size, wearing its little suit, chasing them. But at first, Dorothy thinks it's a person on roller skates, on their hands and feet,
She's
as
a
you
little
would.
too optimistic.
Yes.
As he gets closer, they realize it's the terrible thing we just described, and Belina rightfully is like, "Run!"
Yes, Belina.
She's like, run. She says, run. It's a wheeler.
And the
Dorothy.
wheelers-
Oh, the wheeler.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Dorothy is like, what's a wheeler? And Belina is just like, who cares? That's one. We need
Look
to
at it.
run. Like, yeah, exactly.
While the wheelers are like coming at them full speed, they
and also
give
there's
these
dozens now.
They give these sharp, wild cries.
Yeah,
and they're just
they're
like
screaming. They're
like new fear unlocked.
Dozens and dozens of these things.
Wheeler.
Which again,
Wait, what's the Wheeler body horror?
This is
body
Wheeler
horror.
body horror. Yes, they are just bent over, arms as long as their legs, with wheels for hands and feet, and these strange Victorian, like, I don't even know what outfits. Yeah.
But they're very berries and cream.
Oh, yes.
But Dorothy and Belina, they're running full speed. And Dorothy's like, oh my God, I've never run this hard in my life. Like, I can't run much farther.
Yeah.
And Belina's like, no, look, like, just come up this, like, mound of rocks. Like, let's get up
It's like a
above
bunch
them.
of boulders.
Yeah, they can't wheel up there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Belina's
God, we
like...
got a thinker here.
Literally, yes. Because, like, they're scrambling up. The wheelers are getting to the base of these rocks, and they can't get up. And
Yeah.
Belina's like, hey, like, you don't even need to hurry. They can't climb these. Like, you're fine. Because Dorothy has been, like, flailing and stumbling and, like, because she, like, they're scared. And but Belina's like, no, you don't need to even do that.
She's like, actually,
You
can you fucking
just
jump for a sec?
walk.
Well, because I mean, they can't. Like, they have wheels. They cannot get up there. It's like a loose, rocky hill. The wheelers surround the hill because they can't get up there.
How do they get up there?
And they're
Dozens. And
And
there's
they're-
probably 140.
They're like shaking their front wheels
Yeah,
at them,
rattling.
and
Ew.
they're literally like, they're like, you come down here, we're gonna tear you into little bits.
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
what they
cut your
said.
face. Like,
Yeah.
They're not in
literally-
Oz. I don't feel like this is Oz.
That's a
Well-
weird thing to say.
That's too scary.
So, yeah, Dorothy and Belina are like, leave us alone. What do you want? And they're like,
I know the Kalitas were a thing, but these are scarier.
This is fucking scary.
The
Yeah.
wheelers are like, you took a lunch pail and a dinner pail. Who do you think those belong to? The rule is, if you take one, we kill you immediately. You have to die.
you
And
can't
they were
just
like,
That's
get one of
actually,
those.
we decided that's the law.
Yeah.
You cannot take from our dinner trees, or else we're gonna fucking kill you. And so that's what's gonna happen here tonight. And Dorothy and Belina are
Damn.
like, actually, no, we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna stay.
literally,
right here.
they're
Yeah, we're
like,
gonna
you know
stay up
what?
here.
I think you're making that up. And I think it's Belina specifically who's like, you know what? They're saying that. I think they would have tried to kill us either way.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think
Belina
that's
calls
right.
full bullshit.
And so they're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just be on this boulder because we can wait up here until we starve to death, and many good things could happen between now and then.
And that's
True.
where
Which
the
is true.
Have
that's where the
faith.
chapter ends, which is just Dorothy and Belina being like, all right, stay put.
Yeah.
Jeez, just cliffhanger after cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, just wait.
I'm excited.
Because that was chapter 3, Letters in the Sand. And Blake, what would you call that?
Punita, I hardly know her. Because like Punita trees.
Chapter 4, TikTok, the Machine Man.
TikTok spelled TikTok.
Yep.
So,
No space.
just like the app. Like L. Frank
Whoa.
Baum. L. Frank Baum.
So he
This was
invented
predicted
TikTok.
TikTok.
This was 115 years ago. By the way.
Interesting.
So most of the Wheelers, they've like gone back into the forest for
They
whatever
left 3.
reason.
They left 3.
They
They
left
go
three-
eat their tree
yeah.
lunches.
3 of them stay behind to guard Dorothy and Belina.
I
So
hate them.
The
I hate
Wheelers,
them.
the 3 that are left, they literally, like, the waiting is so long, they curl up like dogs and pretend to be asleep. And Belina, she's from the hood, so she's
she
like,
gets it.
no, not buying it.
She's
for a
her
second.
friends have died from cars, so she
Yeah.
gets
Yeah,
it.
she's been through a lot.
Yeah.
And they're like,
She's like,
no.
these wheels, I
Yeah.
know all types.
Yes, she's like, you're not automobiles.
Belina's not raising the children unless there's at least 13. She doesn't have time for anything.
Yeah,
God,
she
I
needs a
love
nest.
Belina. She's everything.
But so she goes back to the like rock hill that they're sitting on, and she realizes there's a path that it twists itself all the way down to the base of the rock pile on the backside.
Yeah, because they're like, at this point, they're resting on like one of the bigger boulders of this kind of like boulder pile situation. So like they see, oh, there's a path cut in, and they follow it down to the bottom, and it's blocked by big rocks. Like the Wheelers can't get up it, but if they could, it's so smooth. It's like it's made for a car. But they're like, okay, this is the bottom. So they start to follow it up to the top to see where it goes, you know, at that point, up the rock pile.
And they find what appears to be a door in the rock, because there's like a rectangular shaped crack in the face of the rock on the on this big boulder on the back of the mountain.
And this road leads like right to it. Like it goes like it's like they came to a big rock, they saw like a rectangle on, and they're like, that's obviously a door. Well, Belina specifically is like, that's a door, and Dorothy's like, oh yeah, it is. I wonder if there's a keyhole, and then there is a keyhole.
Dorothy takes the key that Belina had found on the beach. She takes it out of her pocket and she tries it in the rock door, and the door does open with that key into like a small dark cavern where what Dorothy sees startles her immediately.
Yeah, they like back up, they're scared, and what they see is the form of a man inside of this
The
chamber.
same height as Dorothy.
So small. And also his body perfectly round.
entirely
Munchkin?
entirely made of copper
Yes. Also his
and round like a
hands-
ball. Like
Yeah.
what's the
Like a bowling
what's
ball?
that little R2D2 type thing
Oh.
in the newer
B12?
movies? B12.
Yeah.
Isn't that a vitamin?
BB-8 or something. I think
Yes.
it's 2B.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
yes,
something
yes,
like
yes.
that, yeah.
But except though, the ball would have to be the size of like, I mean, it would be huge because
Huge,
he's
like a yoga ball.
It's yeah, it would be like a 2 foot, but yeah, a yoga ball exactly. So it's big, but he's all made of copper. His hands, his arms are all made of copper. It says that he looks like a knight from the times of like from the olden days because he's like just fully made of copper.
And Dorothy's like, and Belina's like, no, don't be frightened. Like, that is a copper man. He's basically a tea kettle.
She's like, I have a
He's not
teapot
alive.
back at the farm.
How
Yeah.
do you know? What
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Dorothy is like, well, actually,
Like, where are you from again?
Yes, because Dorothy's like, I know a guy made of tin, and like
Also,
he's
like,
actually
how can this
a
bitch just come
woodsman.
to Oz? She has background.
Belina was-
It makes
I
you
gotta see her
wonder.
background. Actually, give me a background check.
She was on her way to Australia.
Yeah,
For what?
from
Yeah.
Billy's farm. Who knows?
But Belina actually does something that I think is kind of like cute, but also I guess like Belina body horror. Just Belina body understanding.
Okay.
Because she goes to take a closer look at this copper TikTok man, and she has to like do both sides of her head because her eyes are on either side of her face.
She's
she takes turns with each eye looking
She's
at
moving
him.
her head back and forth to see.
And with how sassy she is, I can see so much intention in that head
Like her little
movement, you know?
feathers are like swooshing with each turn.
But Dorothy's like, I knew a man named out of 10. His name, it was Nick Chopper. He was made out of 10 because of some accidents with his axe. But this man doesn't seem like he was ever alive, but Nick Chopper was alive.
Yeah,
and
we love Nick Chopper.
And Belena's like, okay.
Yeah, again for the second time, Belena's like, that's bullshit. That's insane. She just says, oh, because she's like, yeah, okay.
Okay, Dorothy and her delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, you're insane.
I do love Belena.
I don't blame her.
I want her to be proven wrong because we know.
Yeah, because I don't blame her for feeling that way, but also she's a hen who can talk now, and she knows that, and she's acknowledged that.
And also,
so it's time for
I
her to
guess
come
you know what a
forward.
copper TikTok man is. So
Yeah, fuck you, Belena.
seriously,
Oh my God.
how about take a step back and look at everything?
Yeah,
how about
like
that?
scarecrows.
You just got chased by nightmare men on wheels.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I just
Maybe
wanna
you
throw that out
haven't
there.
seen it all.
And you just saw
But you know what?
a lunch pail and a dinner pail plucked from trees.
Yeah,
you
and
know
the
what?
thing
In
in the
those
lunchbox,
moments-
you could pick out from the stems.
Yeah, insane.
In those moments, I mean, I think Belena has handled everything with just like, that's what it is. Let's go. Like, she's like,
Yes.
those are wheelers. Dorothy's like, what? What is that? She's like, who gives a fuck? Get
Yeah,
up
she's like,
here.
She hates
those are
Dorothy.
wheelers.
So honestly,
She's probably
Belena,
upset.
she may not have seen it all, but she responds to it all like a pro.
She's smart.
That's true.
But Dorothy goes around to the back of the copper man and she finds a card hanging between his shoulders from this like copper peg. And she takes the card. She has to take it outside because she's in like a dark cave. So she has to take it outside where she can read it. And it says,
Wait, is the copper man alive?
well, he's just kind of a copper man right now.
So
but they find
far,
this
they
card
think
that
he's
describes
dead.
what he is.
Okay.
And it says Smith and Tinkers, patent, double action, extra responsive, thought creating, perfect talking, mechanical man.
Fitted with our special clockwork attachment, thinks, speaks, acts, and does everything but live.
Sounds like an AI to me.
Manufactured only at our works at Evna, land of Ev. All infringements will be promptly prosecuted according to law.
Directions for using. For thinking, wind the clockwork man under his left arm, marked number 1.
For speaking, wind the clockwork man under his right arm, marked number 2.
For walking and action, wind clockwork in the middle of his back, marked number 3.
NB.
Yeah,
I don't know what NB means, but it does say
NB.
It says NB. This mechanism is guaranteed to work perfectly for 1,000 years.
So Dorothy goes back into the cave.
So it's like a warranty card. It's like getting the instructions with your with a toy or something, basically.
This is so strange.
Yes.
So this is how this TikTok man works.
Oh.
And like how you said he's like AI, like yeah, like he has thinking mechanisms.
Yeah.
You just have to wind them up. He's clockwork. So Dorothy
I will
goes
say really quick. At this point, after Dorothy reads all that stuff out loud, Belena is like, well, I declare it would be insane if we could wind this thing up and it would think, speak, and act. But you know what? Probably it's just a humbug like all the other patent articles. And I feel like that's just a commentary on the time of like people were like filing patents for all sorts of shit. And it's like they couldn't really do it. They were just hoping they could probably and like figuring it out and then realizing, oh, we can't.
L.
But we
Frank
still have
Baum
a
was
patent.
L. Frank Baum was something of an inventor himself.
Oh, interesting.
So we will have
That'll do it.
so much fun, covering that. But yeah, Dorothy goes back into the cave. She gets the key to wind him up off a peg, and they test him out and see if he works.
And I kind of get it, but for some reason, and this might harken back to some kind of a scarecrow body horror, but the first thing that they wind up is his thinker. So she puts the little key in under his arm and winds it up, and so he's thinking in theory, but nothing happens. Like they're just like, what's going on? Like he isn't moving, and they're like, oh well, we haven't started up his speaking yet, so he's just trapped in his little mind right now.
You can't even express it.
No.
It's like how Belena was.
Honestly,
not that long ago.
Yeah, at least she got to move around.
That's true.
But yes. So then they put the key in the second part, which is speech, and immediately he says, "Good morning, little girl. Good morning, Miss Hen."
The book is literally written
It's
with
like-
all of these dashes between what he's saying. It's literally written like a robot. Like
It's like
I
Alfred-
am a robot was invented in
Okay,
1900.
It's
Alfred
like he knew what it was
Baum.
gonna be like. It's like he knew there were gonna be robot voices.
Yeah.
This actually disturbed me then when I was rereading it the other day because I was like, "What did he know?"
That is a little weird.
But the Copper Man, he thanks them for rescuing him, and Dorothy's like, "Hey, don't mention it, but like, how did you get here?" And the Copper Man tells Dorothy and Bellina his story.
Which is, this is about to be a lot. So he was also I just wanted to make a quick note that his manufacturers are Smith and Tinker, and the first thing on his little card is about being a patented double action whatever, and I think that's obviously a direct reference to Smith and Wesson with a double action like rifle or like a repeating rifle, which I think is just
probably
kind of
so.
funny because that was like Smith and Wesson was not a new company, but it was more probably relevant back then. But just a minor note.
That's really good. Yeah.
The Copper Man was purchased from his manufacturer by the evil king of the land of Evaldo.
He's a cruel man.
Cruel man. The king of the king of the land of Ev, and his
The
name.
fuck is Ev?
Well, that's the
Wouldn't
land
you
of
like to know?
Ev, and he's Evaldo.
Did he find that on his filing cabinet too?
So Evaldo, he beat all of his servants to death.
all the time?
But
Like he just did
since-
this over and over.
Since the Copper Man couldn't be killed, he was never alive to begin with.
Did he try though?
So
He did, yeah. It
tried.
said to quote the book, it said that it ended up just polishing him because he hit him so much and it just like gave him a polish. So
I
he had
actually really make I like,
he had to watch
making
all
me a
the other
little bit
servants get
emotional.
killed.
and then he just
Well,
But-
so the Copper Man like was the servant to their family, one of many, but the only one who couldn't be killed. And King Evaldo's family, he had a wife and 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls.
And he was bad to them. In a fit of rage, he sold them all to the Gnome King, spelled Nome, King. And the Gnome King is bad. He used
is
some.
he from another land?
He lives.
He's from Ev.
in
Well, he
Ev.
lives beneath Ev.
Yes,
Okay.
and he uses his magic to transform the entire family, the queen and all 10 children, into little ornaments, and he uses them to decorate a room in his palace, which is deep underground. And that's a
So-
bad thing.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
You
this book
should.
is taking a different turn.
It's very
So-
spooky.
King Evaldo, like he regretted selling his family to the Gnome King, so he tried to get them back, but the Gnome King's like, no deal. And so in despair, the king locks up the Copper Man in this cave in the side of this rocky hill where Dorothy found him, because he is kind of an endless being. So he's like, just get in this hole and stay there. And the king of Ev jumps into the ocean and drowns himself.
Yeah. He throws the key he used to lock TikTok, or he throws the key that he used to lock the Copper Man into the ocean, and then he jumps in after it and drowns himself.
And I guess the key just washed up to shore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the Copper Man was forced to wait for all of his mechanisms to shut down over time.
Yeah.
And so he just slowly, clockwork by clockwork, shut down and didn't remember anything until Dorothy wound him back up.
Yeah.
But Dorothy's like, okay, that story's insane.
Yeah. It's
but it does prove that Ev is a fairyland, like I thought it was. Which also, womp 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 womp. We're in Ev. We're
Yeah.
not in Oz.
We're not
There's
in
no Oz?
Oz. We're not in Oz.
Not right now.
You'll maybe hear later, but not right now.
And there's other lands.
Well, at least the land of
apparently.
Ev.
And they
There.
have things like wheelers.
Yes, many different things.
And they have a
that
beach.
You won't even know yet. Oh, we'll get there.
Well, I do love a beach, but you can't catch me, Dad, in the land of Ev.
Yeah, Ev does not sound fun.
No.
But the copper man asks where Dorothy got the key, and she tells him that she found it on the beach because it must have washed ashore, like you said. And Dorothy winds up the copper man's motor functions, and he takes off his hat, and he bows to her, vowing to be her obedient servant from this day forward.
In this moment, also,
his life's about to be way better.
It is.
I'm really hoping.
And he discloses his name here, which is Tick-Tock, which he was named by the king for the sound that it made when his gears were turning. So
that's pretty cute.
He is Tick-Tock, the mechanical man.
And Dorothy's like, you're not like an alarm clock, are you? Because I don't really like loud alarm clocks.
Yeah. And he's like, no, like, I'm not an alarm clock. I can keep time, and I never have to sleep, so I can always wake you up on time, but I'm not an alarm clock.
Belena's like, look, I lay my morning egg every day around 8 a.m. Just wake her up after I make my egg.
She's got a schedule.
There's no reason. Yeah. Like, she's like, nobody should be sleeping past that.
Everyone should be up by then, is what she says.
Like, okay.
Yeah, she's an elitist. And also what we do. But that is actually the end of chapter 4, which is Tick-Tock, the Machine Man. And Blake, what would you call that?
I would call that chapter Toto. I have a feeling we're not in Oz anymore.
He told me that one earlier.
That's exciting.
He didn't. But that is where we're going to end it for today's episode of Oz Hour.
Thank you for listening to episode 10, the first book of book 3, Ozma of Oz. Next week, we pick up with chapter 5, Dorothy Opens the Dinner Pail.
Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swangham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas. Follow us at Oz Hour Podcast on Instagram and rate and review on your favorite streaming service.